Toledo doesn't begin with noise. It begins with light, sun on stone, wind over water, and the slow rhythm of footsteps crossing a bridge. The Tajo below still flows like it has for centuries, wrapping the city like a question you keep returning to. This isn't a city you simply visit. It's one you enter with patience, with open eyes, and a little reverence. Let's walk through gates that once kept armies out into streets that still carry the echo of three religions. This is Toledo, and it remembers everything. Did you know that Tajo is the longest river in the Iberian Peninsula? It flows over 1,000 kilometers, from eastern Spain to the Atlantic coast of Portugal. The Tajo doesn't just surround Toledo, it protects it. The city is wrapped by a natural bend in the river, like a stone peninsula. In medieval times, the Tajo was a lifeline and a barrier. Merchants crossed it, kings built above it, and enemies feared it. From here, the view stretched far, but Toledo always knew how to look inward. This was a fortress, a sanctuary, and sometimes a battlefield. As you walk uphill on Calle Real, notice the silence between steps. Toledo has a way of slowing you down, but making everything feel sharper. This road was once lined with pilgrims and traders. Now it's locals, students, and visitors, but the stones haven't changed. Toledo's layers reveal themselves slowly. Walk 20 meters and you're passing Roman foundations, Muslim walls, and Gothic shadows, all within the same glance. Listen closely. You might hear church bells, distant voices, or just birds. It's not silence. It's history catching its breath. Toledo never needed tall towers to feel majestic. It rises from the land like it belongs there, not built but grown. The climb into Toledo is gentle but symbolic. You're not just entering a city, you're stepping into 1,000 years of decisions, beliefs, and beauty. The Puerta de la Bisagra is the grand entrance to Old Toledo. Once guarded by Moors, later rebuilt by Christians, it still welcomes with the same pride. Originally built by the Arabs in the 10th century, the gate was redesigned in the 16th by Alonso de Covarrubias, blending military strength with royal style. Above the arch, the imperial double-headed eagle stares forward. It's a symbol of Charles V, and a reminder that Toledo was once the heart of an empire. You're now walking the same path used by kings, cardinals, and soldiers. This was the official route into the fortified city. If you're enjoying this walk, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It really helps us bring you more of these moments. It keeps the walk going and the journey growing. To your right, the old city walls stretch in stone silence. Some parts date back to the Visigoths, others to Muslim engineers. Toledo was a walled city for over 1,000 years. Its defenses protected books, languages, and ideas, not just bricks and borders. Calle Real del Arrabal was once the commercial artery of the outer quarter. Markets filled the street with silk, spices, and silver coins. If these cobbles could speak, they'd tell stories of hoofbeats, sandals, and sword clinks. Now they carry camera clicks and quiet footsteps. During medieval times, this route passed through a lively suburb outside the walls. Today it's quiet, but still steeped in that restless energy. The sun hits the sandstone buildings just right in the afternoon. Toledo isn't colorful, it glows.
Esto llega hasta...
Plaza Zocodover takes its name from the Arabic souk ad-dawabi, which means market of the beasts. This was once a livestock and trade square. Zocodover was the heart of public life, where festivals were held, edicts read, and sadly, executions staged. The city's joy and judgment shared the same space. You'll notice the plaza curves slightly. That's because it was built into the natural shape of the hill, not against it, like everything in Toledo. Many Inquisition trials were announced right here, but centuries later, poets and painters met on the same benches. Toledo always holds both silence and song. Standing here today, it's hard to imagine how many layers are beneath your feet. Roman, Islamic, Jewish, Christian, and maybe a few still waiting to be uncovered. The Alcazar is Toledo's crown, a fortress, a palace, and a symbol of power that watches the city from its highest hill. Romans built the first structure here. Later, Visigoths and Muslims fortified it, but the shape we see today was shaped under Emperor Charles V. This was more than military. The Alcázar once held kings, libraries, and archives, a house of memory as much as muscle. It was destroyed and rebuilt several times, most recently after the brutal siege of 19 during the Spanish Civil War. During that siege, the Alcázar became a national symbol. A small group held it for 70 days under bombardment. Today, it houses the Museo del Ejército, Spain's military museum, filled with armor, maps, banners, and echoes. Its 4 square towers are iconic, designed to intimidate from below and impress from above. From here, Toledo's geography makes sense. The river curves around, the city coils inward, and the Alcázar anchors it all. This viewpoint isn't just scenic, it's strategic. From here, you can see who's coming long before they arrive. Look closely, and the rooftops roll like waves, but the cathedral and towers always break through the pattern. In the golden hour, Toledo doesn't shine, it smolders. Soft light wraps every wall like it belongs there. From this height, you understand why Toledo endured. It was built to last and to watch. The streets weren't made for cars. They were made to confuse invaders and protect secrets. They still do both. Each turn here feels like a decision, and each wall feels like it remembers something. Walk slow. These shadows once held processions, whispers, and torches. Some corners haven't changed since the 1500s. Toledo's layout reflects its soul, not a grid, but a maze, built by many hands, shaped by 3 cultures. The stones underfoot have been smoothed by centuries of sandals, hooves, and prayers. Look down. You're not walking on a street, you're walking on time. You'll see windows with wrought iron grills, a legacy of old customs, privacy, and sometimes protection. Buildings press close together, creating a microclimate. In summer, these alleys stay cool. In history, they stayed hidden. The city's Jewish, Christian, and Muslim quarters weren't always separate. In places like this, their stories overlapped, literally wall to wall. You may not see them, but Toledo hides underground chambers, cisterns, and forgotten passages. This city is deeper than it looks. Walk long enough in these alleys and you'll hear your own footsteps echo. That's Toledo, letting you know you're not alone. Sometimes the streets get so narrow you could reach out and touch both walls. Locals call them kissing lanes. And then suddenly the streets open, and there it is, the cathedral rising like a stone hymn. They call this the primate cathedral of Spain, not just for its size, but for the weight it carries in faith and history. Construction began in 1226, right after the Reconquista, but it took over 250 years to complete, which means several generations never saw it finished. It's Gothic in style, but look closely. There are Arabic arches, Jewish symbols, and Renaissance touches woven into its walls. The bell tower stands 92 meters tall. Legend says the sound once reached the river, calling farmers, merchants, and kings at once. Inside is a forest of columns and golden altar pieces. Even for those who don't pray, this is a place to pause. They say the stones here don't echo. They absorb the silence of centuries. The sun sinks behind the rooftops and the stones cool beneath your feet. Shadows stretch, but the silence here never feels empty. This walk wasn't just a route, it was a slow unfolding of walls, of memory, of everything that still lingers between these streets. Some cities you pass through, but this one stays with you. Thanks for joining us.